Let me ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true and that disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you. Republican Senator Ben Sasse said, quote, QAnon is nuts and real leaders call conspiracy theories conspiracy theories.
He may be
Why not
right.
just say it's crazy and not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia. And I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it very strongly.
But there's not a satanic pedophile
I have no idea. I know nothing about that.
You don't know that?
That was then President Donald Trump during a 2020 town hall with NBC's Savannah Guthrie. Trump's refusal to disavow QAnon, just one of the many conspiracy theories he stoked and promoted over the years. But our next guest says conspiracies not unique to this time in our politics, but rather etched into America's DNA. Joining us now is author Colin Dickey. His latest book is titled Under the Eye of Power: How Fear of Secret Societies Shapes American Democracy. Colin, it's great to have you on, and you kind of draw this line way back in history to where we are today, where our politics seem to be consumed, at least on one side of the aisle, with conspiracies. Where do you say it began in this country?
I mean, I think you can go all the way back to Salem. Like Salem's whole, the witch trials were all about this idea that your ordinary neighbor who was just like everybody else was secretly in a cabal with Satan to do harm to you. So I think you go all the way back. I mean, our founding moment, the American Revolution, you had people arguing that the entire American Revolution was a French plot to secretly install a French king in the English crown. So we've had these from the very beginning, and they, as you say, they go all the way back into our DNA.
And have been deployed by some of our most famous and renowned and respected leaders, including President Washington in his farewell address. Not certainly in the manner that we've seen Donald Trump use them, but there's always been this sort of notion of conspiratorial forces at work to undermine what that president is doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Washington was one of many people who believed firmly that the Illuminati, this sort of defunct German group that was suppressed in the 1770s, was behind the French Revolution, that was the reason the French Revolution had gotten so crazy. Our first sort of contested election, 1800, between Adams and Jefferson, both of them had people sort of arguing that the other guy was an Illuminati stooge. So it goes all the way back.
We know of some modern conspiracy theories. Kennedy assassination, of course. We're seeing on the graphic there the Red Scare, the communist witch hunt of the 50s. But your book notes that really the Civil War was a time of real conspiracy theories in the country, fueling the discussion around the conflict between the states. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the 1850s were a time when we just had sort of conspiracy theories on every front. So in the North, you had people arguing, including Lincoln and the Republicans, that there was what they called a slaveocracy, this group of powerful, wealthy slave owners who are not just like powerful, but had infected government and were completely undermining American government from within. Meanwhile, in the South, you had people arguing that the abolitionists were this massive secret network that was doing all sorts of damage to the American population. And you had this third conspiracy theory, which was run by the know-nothings, who blamed sort of everything on the Catholics and the Pope sort of exerting his influence from afar. So the 1850s just had these three different conspiracy theories that were fighting for dominance, and it ultimately only ended in the Civil War.
Colin, whether you're talking then in the 1850s or in the present day, what is the power? What's the secret sauce of these conspiracy theories? And why are people so gullible to them and just sink deeper and deeper into them? And to the point where a president of the United States couldn't even deny the fact that this stuff is crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know that they're gullible. I think people are looking for something that gives them a kind of order and sense in the world. And even if that sense is something sort of malevolent, it still sort of provides a narrative for the chaos. And I think that that's really appealing. And so when you're sort of trying to sort of debunk these things, it's more than just the facts. You have to sort of think about what are people trying to get out of this conspiracy theory and how can we sort of undo that and then get to the facts.
So, Colin, given everything you know, everything you've studied for this book, what do you make of the current conspiracy theories? We've been talking a lot this morning about a potential indictment of the former president for everything that happened around the 2020 election, and we know some of the outlandish conspiracy theories that are now landing people in jail, by the way. You know, people saying that there was an Italian satellite controlling voting machines, or that China had worked its way in through thermostats to somehow control votes. I don't even understand that one. But that said, some of those conspiracy theories made their way to the Oval Office. It was the kind of thing Donald Trump was hearing and repeating.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you opened the segment with QAnon, and that idea of the sort of secret cabal of, you know, child abusers is something that we saw in the 1980s with the Satanic Panic. It's something we saw in the 1830s when a convent in Boston was burned to the ground by people who thought it was basically an 1830s version of Pizzagate. These same sort of theories get spun over and over again with new details and new technology, but they become the same thing over and over again.
Such a fascinating book. It's titled Under the Eye of Power: How Fear of Secret Societies Shapes American Democracy.